See, I never would have thought that. I never would have looked at that because it's
It
corporation.
depends how you really read it. Interpretations Act. Who's making the interpretation?
Yeah, I got just
Jump to 125? Back to 125?
125?
Yeah.
So it's all the
Okay.
So she didn't write back saying what you talking about, she didn't write back saying what you talking about.
influence or negotiating appointments or dealing in office.
Influencing or negotiating
Indictable, is it?
In here is what she was.
appointments in offices?
Yeah.
That's the
indictable
executor
offense.
office that they're trying to get you to vacate.
Bother man. Anyway.
So,
Read that.
I'm gonna use the whiteboard over there,
I've
yes?
seen that same correspondence.
And if, I don't know, you guys wanna do some intros or something?
Yeah, well, we'll just maybe,
Are we waiting for anybody?
I don't think so, we're all here.
And I want some markers or something.
They were just on the little, no, Michael, back up. Here's a little thingy right. Well, as far as introductions go, I think we just go around the table because I met some of these people for the first time too.
I'm
So
Hank.
you're Hank.
Hank's the head of the table.
We'll appoint him as the moderator.
Not at all. Not at
Moderator
all.
and secretary.
I'll be walking around. It's all good.
And then you are amigo?
Daryl from Dinsel, Saskatchewan. Not Yosa.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
I'm Ken. Help to create this little design.
I'm Alan. Alan.
And as some of you know me, I'm Eagle-Eyed Man, more commonly called Tim. Formerly though.
From Michel.
I'm Jake McCall, Estevan.
And Matt from Calgary.
And I'm Gordon, commonly referred to by, as asshole by most of my really.
I'll call you that.
Does that make you anal or you're already there?
That's right, only my true friends call it that.
All right.
Everybody else too scared to, huh?
I wouldn't say that. But
You know your friends got you asshole, right?
yeah, I said that to a judge. He said, well, what's your real name? I said, well, I don't know which one you want. I said, my parents call me son, my kids call me dad. You know, the dog calls me whoop, and most of my friends just call me asshole. I answered each. If I choose.
What is today anyway? 23rd?
22nd?
23rd.
You will upset me.
It's the 23rd, yeah, Saturday.
That's because you want me to admit to being a name? Because I have been named doesn't mean I am.
Hank switch, so I'm gonna squeeze into that spot and Hank, might be easier a little for some.
We could always shift this table, everybody picks up, and moves it about 2 feet.
Back again.
Touch toes, there you go, thank you. You may have overheard us just talking before. May I have the green criminal code, please? Thank you. We may have seen these before.
One here.
All right. You're a lucky guy. Where'd you get yours?
Where'd I get it?
Uh-huh.
U of S, at the student bookstore.
Wow, what do they charge you there?
$100.
$44. Yeah, that's
Okay,
a student edition.
You're buying lunch,
Okay.
and I'll tell you where to get them for free.
Oh, okay.
Is that a good idea?
That's all right.
All right.
I want a new one because this is.
Yes, you
old.
do, and they don't correlate because of repeals, revisions, all that.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
get modernized.
I
You
wanna-
can go online. I've had this one since '04. I've read it a couple of times. I've tagged it quite a bit.
Yeah, I see that.
Yours will have the same stuff, but it may be a little,
Yeah.
dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Haven't been in that one.
Well, what the cops told me is that when they come out with a new edition, like how the forms of the charges and stuff like that, those change a tiny bit in the definitions, so that's what is mostly up to date on how
Well,
they
it's
update.
been completely revised now.
Oh, I guess 6 or 7 times.
2010 or something, it's been redone, so.
So what we have in those books are enactments from legislation. common law is basically all cases come together, correlated in contract form, settlement agreement, and they become the law, whatever that is. The law is only the law when there's somebody there to enforce it. Does that make sense, Mr. Hunter? You can get these free at the courthouse with a nice gentle smile and saying, that one seems to be outdated. Am I wrong to think that you get them quarterly? Could I have that one, please? I'll make room on your shelf for new stock. I don't know what you have to say to your minions out here. Okay? But they are free if you're polite enough at the courthouse. $44. Okay, we're here for savings. In Section 2 in the Interpretations Act, they have a sort of thing called the mind and the quote merges. We always go into the fact of, hey, that's not me, and we're learning now that the name is not me. That we are aware of that.
Interpretation Act?
Try and find it in there. The phraseology out of this one.
In Section 2, you said?
Yeah.
Well, that's the interpretation, yeah.
Interpretations.
Look off. What were you looking for?
Well, you had asked me where it comes up to the point of how do you get that understanding out of Section 2? Where does it say? It doesn't say exactly the mind and the corporation merge. It's how you go through this enough to understand the interpretation value of the word and how to put it together. It seems somewhat succinct in this phrase. The identity doctrine, are you the name?
Whereabouts are you?
See, mine comes out on CC 16.
Okay.
What section? Section 2?
It's 2.
Liability of the Crown.
That's just after, so the section that's in discussion is the definition of the word everyone.
Okay.
Person, owner, and similar expressions. Liability of corporation.
What is that? So that's this is the description for everyone, you said?
Yes.
Description of everyone.
Yes, yes.
What exactly does it say? Person?
It does cover everyone, / person, owner, and similar expressions, / liability of corporation. Similar expressions.
So just
Well, it says
You're in annotations.
include her majesty and organization.
Okay, not
Well,
annotations.
You're in annotations.
In Section 2, annotations, but I'm going to go past this, and I am still in annotations
Yep.
under everyone,
Okay.
just before liability of the crown. You may or may not have this.
It doesn't have it in this one.
I have the 04.
There's an 07. You got a 97, right, Bert?
Yeah, that's a nice one.
And it's got it in it?
Well, I'm
Everyone?
not seeing that, I'm seeing this, they're talking about, Supreme Court ruling 1299 Dixon J.
Oh, no, okay.
Nope.
No?
But you see, it says Her Majesty and organization. And an organization, so that
Any brand, any name, any number that has been fabricated that you identify with would be your brand, your label, your name, your number. Every mark. Once you have received a brand, they can become very sticky, hard to remove, and therefore cause you a liability. Are you the name?
Ooh. More than one directing mind.
Good point, because your mind becomes divided in your indecisiveness of not being able to accept the liability, then be able to deal with it. You usually go, not me, nothing to do with me. You have a minority and a majority when it comes to voting on decisions. You become the minority when you enter. When he says, do you want that position of minority? Because he takes the position to defend the estate's beneficiary. He's the weakest at that juncture. That's what the system's set up for, to defend the weak on these estate processings. The weak are the dead.
Or deemed dead.
Deemed dead, thank you. And they cannot really have any capacity to defend themselves, can they? Until they take all those shares, they accept the merger of the mind is the corporation, and therefore they can become the stockholders. making these investments on these decisions. I'm coming in to argue about a ticket. There's shareholders involved in these investments. The judge cuts a little check at the end of the game for 12 petite jurors. It's in here. The identity doctrine merges the board of directors, the managing director, the superintendent, the management of anyone else to whom the board of directors has delegated the governing executive authority of the corporation, and the conduct of any of the merged entities is thereby attributed to the corporation. Hi, Ken. I'm an officer and I'm going to give you a tip. What's your name? May I have some ID, please?
No. And they throw you in shackles.
You could go there.
Yeah.
Is this a security interest transaction? I'm not talking to you right now. A smart cop will do that. I've had that. Of course,
Really? They backed off when you asked?
I live in a little place that your name gets around soon enough that, you know, don't go play with that one. So, that's section 2. Thank you for the correction, by the way. Under the annotations, I have it under interpretations, section 2, annotations, everyone. So, I don't know. This is not a everyone, but that's a everyone. I'm everyone. I'm responsible for everyone, their future. So is the judge. It's ironic he's tapping into your retirement portfolio, RRIFs. Investment fund. What's the other one, anybody? What's SP?
Special fund.
Yeah, this is the plan.
Is which? Plan?
Special funds. When you're going in, he's trying to make the best investment for your future because you're offering him what kind of plan you want, and he's trying to take care of where to put the funds. He's going from NISA, number 1 fund, to NISA, number 2. You're not telling him don't do that.
And
Wow.
NISA is?
NISA is Net Investment Suspended Account. It's in suspension. It's all English floating charges. You're not claiming it. You've abandoned the issue by going into a contentious estate attitude. You will receive a court order 61, which is division of estate, for being contentious rather than non-contentious. I accept. What happens to the position of debtor when he accepts? Thank you very much, Tim. I wish to correct mea culpa. As soon as I say I'm responsible, then I can have the authority to
Right, because you become a sheriff, of course. If you claim responsibility, you claim responsibility.
I'm fully liable for the dead guy's debt.
Right.
Now there's a ceremony going on and I gotta pay for the funeral. It's $4,000. He's got a $5,000 check in front of him. The leftover, the remainder, is the problem. What are you gonna do? It's private banking that's going on before your eyes. You have little comprehension. It's a case of repetition. You know that.
Well, they were dealing with bonds, actually.
They're dealing with what is known as units in their world. And some units add up to a credit value. And when it goes over the line, you understand it as money. But yes, you're bonded on both sides. He is on a fixed liability. You can present unlimited liability. I like
Which
that
is
pile
why
of
you
paper.
accept the responsibility and
Yeah,
liability.
what do you know? Can I have that file, please? What do you know it all adds up to, and how the heck are you going to know what it adds up to till it all adds up? That means when you're dead, they have the right to do the math on the account. Till then, do they?
They can administrate.
Yes, they can.
Because you vacated the office.
You abandoned the option.
Right.
But they cannot probate until you're actually not deemed dead, but actually dead and proven dead.
Until then, you're
Established.
intestate.
Right.
And you're not even an intestate successor because you're not taking the position of the office. You're an indictment.
But if you come forth as the testate, or if you're
Yes.
saying I'm alive, and you
Yes.
come forth and say that you've appointed yourself your own executor.
Good, you appointed yourself. That is the most important thing that we could actually hear now. When I accept, do I appoint myself?
Yeah.
Instantaneously, I've invoked my capacity, going from what?
Debtor to creditor, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But you've gone from basically deemed dead
Yeah.
to alive
Yes.
and in charge of the estate.
So now I have the right of administering the dead guy's stock.
Well, he's not dead. You step forward. It's still an estate, because the
It's
estate
still-
is the sum total.
Oh, it is
of
dead.
the,
It's a person, right?
Thank you. The name,
Yeah.
the inanimate
It's
process.
a legal entity. It is dead.
is
That's
dead.
what's
And you're not allowed in that world.
It's proving.
Yeah, but the
But
legal
you can
person,
operate it from a distance.
the legal person name only holds the title, not the
That's-
actual tangible assets, though.
Correct.
Well, there is
You're the corpus. And when you step forward, surete in fact.
Okay.
Okay, but one thing that, okay, I might be jumping ahead here maybe, but the executor in a position of trust
Yes.
has a duty to have the claims presented to him for his approval, because he can't, if he just takes and pays a claim outright, settles the claim like, oh, here you go,
Yeah, there could
he's
be
actually in
fraud.
breach of trust.
Yeah, because he's not conducting his fiduciary.
He's not, he's in breach of his fiduciary duty, so he's got to take and say, well, okay, I need to know the validity, present your claim.
TVC,
Which?
true, verified and complete. Only who can do that?
The executor.
TVC, true verified complaint.
True, verified and complete.
Complete.
That's when he's authorized.
No value offered, no value assured. I can put that on the back of it and say good night.
So you're saying the claim has no value, that's
Yeah.
when they presented their claim.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wish to deny it, then that's what you do, right?
Without adding any degree of contention, because you've adjourned, you've warranted and adjourned the matter. Nugatory discharge,
Yeah, it was
as
supposed
if the guy was dead. Be nice to have a printer, or maybe you take note of that, anybody who wants to get their own, because I can't produce copies right now.
I could have bought a computer yesterday too.
There you go, stop buying those things.
They're like $69.
Yeah, the cartridges, the machine's not.
Yeah. Machines are cheap.
Yeah, the cartridges are $69.
Or more.
A key that I can offer here, I'm not sure if Ken's expressed this, there's a very valuable site, it's called disinherited.com.
Disinherited.
Disinherited.com. This is a most valuable article. Buona vacanza. That's because you're on vacation, you're not really dead.
Bona. Was that last word?
You vacated the office, you're kind of on leave, you're deemed dead, but it's not actual, is it?
And this is a negatory discharge, did you say?
Nugatory. Nugatory.
Bona.
Vacatia. Not to be mistaken for Felicia.
Not to be.
And what are you doing, cunnilingus interruptus or what?
Bona.
What's bona? That means you're on vacation.
That's not in the
Vacancy.
force.
Vacancia?
Vacation. You vacated the office.
Yeah,
The office is open.
That's
Not as a,
the
not as a.
Vacation.
Yeah, that's what I said. This is the stuff that you print up with. Is it all right, Michael, we'll make
Yes, by all means.
copies of everything.
Well, we'll just make a
Okay,
stack of
well,
this and then
yeah.
run over to the copy store. And
Yep.
We could actually scan.
Oh, they
them,
got it
but
reversed
send
by
it
trying to
by
bona.
email if there isn't too
Civil
much.
law, good without the owner, or which one claims the property as cheated
I'll take some
goods.
paper today.
that's cheated goods. They were
Thank you,
talking
that's
about
cheated goods. You're jumping the gun, but I love this information.
For reading it on the paper.
Because they're bona.
That's cheated.
Goods without an owner, or in which no one claims a property.
Now, if you ask the judge, is this vacancia bona or bona vacancia? Is that a negligent or intentional tort? Thank you for your laughter. Now the rest of us catch up to him.
I'm above my pay grade here.
I'll repeat that, golden.
Oh, I got it the first time, yeah.
Did you? Good. Well, I want the hysteria to put it on paper because I want him to share it. If that's okay.
I can't.
Crown's statutory right to the property of an intestate. That's what they're doing. They're administrating it as if it was theirs, because if it's intestate, the state inherits.
Yeah.
If there's no will, and there's no heirs,
And
the
you're
state
reading,
gets it, so they're treating it as if it's theirs right now.
what are you reading it from?
That's right from the start. Bona vacantia is the Crown's statutory right to the property of
And
an
it's a different
intestate.
universe.
In other words, they claim it if
Just
there's
claim
no
it.
heirs and there's no will.
Yeah.
And now they're administering it because you haven't come forth as the executor. So what you're saying, Michael, though,
Yes.
is that you haven't come forth as the executor of the legal person that owns the title, not the actual real or personal property,
Yeah, because-
but the title to that property.
The title is the only thing that they can see in their will.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're dealing with what kind of titles? You bet.
Well, this came from that
Insurance.
section.
Our world works in insurance, their world works in insurance. I don't want to put too much in here. I'll just do a quick review. We had good laughter over there. What was the question that I offered to the judge?
Well, you were asking him if it's a intentional or
Negligent,
negligent tort.
either ways.
You get thrown out for that one often.
Do you?
Well, yeah, because you're insulting the judge, really.
No, I didn't say priority morphe. I didn't go there yet.
Well, you just asked him first, did you not, if it was the transaction of a security interest, basically?
I could have
And
done
on what basis it is? That's what you're asking him, is it not?
Yeah. Quo warranto.
Yeah, go wrong.
By what
You said
authority?
intentional or
Negligent.
negligent tort.
Okay.
So it's a tort either way, because
You got him.
it's-
Are you still beating your wife? We mentioned the word S-cheat. I want to get right back to that one. That'll be on page 2.
That's what the Crown is holding the state in, basically, as a test.
Hey, don't look.
Future John.
Reward and what?
I was in court and the judge. Question on the floor. And he's looking at me. He doesn't want to answer. He's looking away. Question on the floor. He's got the sheriff there, the lawyer. They come in. They watch the entertainment. Did he actually say that? One pipes up and goes, question on the floor. She's laughing. I go like this. Shh! Question on the floor. Forgive the noise, gentlemen, but you must be a little bit of obtuse in it, if so be it. Diamond cuts diamond. What authority does he have to wake up the god today?
What? What authority does he have to wake up the god today?
He may have to deal with the wrath. Not sure he saw the instructions on that dragon, did he?
On that dragon,
That's you. It's your dragon then.
That's right, I know what that is.
He's coming to you for a loan on your account. And you're not saying what the interest is on this lease of the money you're renting him.
Is that what they're asking?
That
That's
is
why they
what's
have the
going on.
hearings?
And you're not saying stop the interest. I'm not interested in this.
That's why they keep conducting hearings until they have to go to trial to settle it themselves.
Recog. Recognize.
Yeah.
I got you.
Bait and screw.
Bait and screw.
Dealing with case number such and such, family name such and such. You coming in? Or are you going to stay out there and create contention? Or are you going to come into the office and accept it's been vacated, now you're going to fill it?
Must.
You must.
Yeah.
Must we? We must.
We must.
The furnace is burning. You gotta feed it with these investments. Your retirement is waiting. It is inevitable. If I do not leave the proper legacy that is being offered to me, that's the future care of the next generations, because a good grandfather plants olives and he knows it's going to be 2 or 3 generations that it's going to happen. The hedge funds are diluted by at least 12 generations at this era. That's a long way off. Anyways, come back. The mind and the corporation merge. They're dealing with your plan and your funds. You're having little idea that it goes from one investment to the next. And if you allow that to happen without instructions, then the return will go to the investor because you're not making the investment yourself. Is that a reasonable thing in business? If you're not going to be responsible, it's obvious you need some help. Pari passu, decree nasai. And I think we went over this before. I might use examples of family matters or defaults, whatever you want to call it. It is one big family. This is civil law. When you step away from the system, you're saying you don't want to be in a family. You're expatriating. Does that make sense? You're expatriating? Oh, I got some juiciness on that.
You mean civil war, like civil laws can't be distinguished from savage and barbarous, as it says. It says in the dictionary.
Please use your left hand when you wipe with no paper, and I will shake your right.
Yeah.
The reason of Pari passu, 6 weeks, family, civil law, civil code, which is based on doubt, premise of doubt, and conduct. Code of conduct. It's part of civility, and it's based on the probabilities abilities. You guys can correct my spelling ability. We'll get to that. 6 weeks. When a decision is made in court, you have a 6-week option to turn it around. When you get court orders, you'll notice they have little categories at the bottom. It says what type of order. Interim. A change. Final order. They have these little boxes that they check off with X's if anybody's ever gotten an order.
I've seen a few.
Yeah. The interim is a pari passu, and you have 6 weeks to correct it. If not, you have 1 week to set it aside, so you're going in to deal with the estate's issues within that 1 week's time. Decree nasai is the 6-week process that it goes out onto the market at the stock exchange, because you've definitely abandoned it. You have a long time for these recovery options. The system's being very fair. All of this is out there. We were just not pushed enough to go digging. But I see some wise minds that are tired of getting it up to poop shoot. I'm definitely in that club. So we're dealing with title insurance. It's all insurance. When you open up a CD for a movie, it says USC Title 17, Section 501, 506. You can be held liable for what? Copyright issues. Yeah, plagiarisms, all that wonderful stuff. I think there's only one. I got one really good friend, and he never gave me any trouble for plagiarisms. But look at how many other friends he made me. Why would I give him shit? I gotta be cautious when I'm stepping on somebody else's ideas. I don't have permission, that's danger. That's reasonable. Because if I don't have permission, it's an obvious thing I'm a thief, and I can get in trouble. The judge is really nice. He's giving you an opportunity to run your office. It's hard to see that, isn't it?
Well, it's not like they tell you.
No. So if you don't run it, he's running away with it. And it's all title insurance. So he said, oh, you're not upset for me stepping on your name or using your name as a investment in my favor? You're definitely not home.
You're absent, therefore.
You've proved your incapacity.
Yeah.
Therefore, that excluded yourself by your own option.
You're an action.
He claimed the insurance.
So really, if that's the case, then it's not just the transaction of a security interest. It's actually, that's where the bonding comes in, is title insurance. They're transacting the security interest in the form of a title insurance bond.
Yes. Now,
Like
who's
list your name.
entitled to it? Who's entitled to it?
The estate is, really.
But
If you come forward, unless they're administrating the estate and the Crown feels that they're entitled to the estate and intestate,
Yep.
basically they're going to keep it. That's why they're keeping all the bonds.
According to that corpus juris secundum, as soon as the testator is found alive, as soon as the decedent is found in fact alive, the bonds, because they have to take a bond, according to that, they say that by special statutes, they're obligated to take a bond to protect the interest of the decedent, should he in fact be found alive at the time of the distribution of the estate assets or whatever the distributions are, in order to return it to him if he is found alive. And as soon as he shows up, those bonds are immediately due and payable to the estate.
And so, are you gonna put them in your own private account? You think your bank manager's gonna go, holy shit, you just landed $250,000, there's more coming. Who are you? What kind of clearance do you have?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that. I'm a trustee of and I have a co-trustee. We have 4 express trusts, so
Good.
If I got a check like that to come to the estate, it would be immediately, I'd appoint a trustee. Bang.
Yeah, good.
They're going to trust account.
You just assured the outcome.
Yeah. Because it has to be, because what I saw a long
Rights of
time ago-
entitlement to spend it without getting liability as income.
Right. And not only that, they are a trustee, they have a trustee position, they're holding that property. If they hand it over to the debtor, the debtor's creditors could jump on them and he could lose it. Well, in order to protect it, they want to distribute it.
Unless you had a debtor base registration number with your UCC, and on the UCC you selected the AG box so that you could have the right of entitlement in place to get it out back to you. AG does not stand for Attorney General. It's an agricultural lien lift.
Your earth.
Agriculturally. Gene Keating and those guys talked about that.
This is out of Keating stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Pastor Tony King.
Okay. Yeah, I
He-
think everybody here knows about that.
He has that capacity to make the out without the liability. I've seen a few UCCs and the AG seems to be quite an issue. A lot of people don't have that. It has been brought up in some of the seminars on his tapes. You may, if you have them, go through that and yeah, try and fill out that section if you would.
Oh, is it in this? I got a
When
UCC.
No.
Oh, or
I'm not sure. I didn't.
It'll have a
see that.
definite. Oh, you never. Oh, this is the whole UCC.
Cool. Can you pull up the thing that says debtor base registration number?
Debtor.
Check the index of that.
Knockers. They gotta be settled, see, they have to be settled in substance. If they're not settled in substance, they're not settled, they're not paid. They gotta be paid with that.
Right.
Or they're not paying. And that's what constitutes the private contract. And that's the one thing they cannot interfere with. They can't interfere.
This
with
doesn't have an
private
index.
It's the debt. It's the one.
It's got all the
Everything
articles in it.
trustee does is trust.
It's got a whole bunch of other
Doesn't matter what you do.
What do you
Didn't have my clothes
Debtor
today.
based what?
Debtor base registration number, or AG, agricultural lien.
$5.
Yeah,
What is this?
they're about
If
50
you,
bucks.
if you look on the back, on the very back, the back cover is the index.
Yeah, slot.
And if you look at, and then you can flip it open with your thumb, and then there's dark lines in there, and you can go to that
I
section.
always carry it.
But I'm not sure whether,
The lodestone.
Well, they went to buy secret silver here recently too. As soon as I put it on, it's just, if you have your hold, it doesn't get a CD from you. James.
Yeah.
Silver has a different.
I have a granite egg that I use for meditation.
So basically the debtor is
Inside, but I feel that-
filing the lien himself.
I think there's.
When you say you're filing the lien, it depends on your situation, how far down the treadmill you are. What are you trying to do? When you say file a lien, is this the UCC you're saying you're putting in place?
Registering.
Okay, we're not using 9091s.
Exploding stars.
Stars
That's
right.
the
You
only
know,
thing
I
that, the
don't
only
know where
force
to
of movement
begin.
that creates.
Okay.
No, for agricultural
Yeah.
liens and things.
That's what I found.
Well, let us not begin, let's come closer down the line. Have you heard of
that was
the...
on public television, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nova,
Yeah.
public television. It was just, they're just keeping you conditioned.
Well, that's what they were saying.
Gold and silver can be precipitated on the water. Not even with air. Happens all the time, happens every day. Minerals.
Exactly. What's in your hand, Ken?
All things come from water.
Thank you. That is where we are at this part of the game. Anybody heard of the SG Act?
I heard of that. Heard of that, chief.
Anybody heard of secret trusts? At that website, disinherited.com, I don't even have to be standing here, gentlemen. You may have to do so in case of repetition. There is everything at that site. There are little 1-minute quippet videos. Law of trust. Okay, reinstatement law of trust.
Reinstatement?
Reinstatement law of trust.
I read the part on the secret trusts.
Yes. Then he has it in book form. But those that aren't aware of it, that could give you a better understanding of how the private banking process works at that website. There's a lot of invisible contracts when you're going into that world that, you know, as soon as you step over the line when they bow, what have you done? You merged your mind and the corporation's activities on the market, didn't you? Did you reserve your right upon entry? Did you wave a surrender flag? Or you got the Red Bull hanging?
What?
When you walk into court, if you walk over that line where the lawyers bow, you've just entered the outer temple of the Mason. Inner, outer, middle temple. You're going into their investment house. Yes. And therefore it's all secret trusts that are based on your futures. Are you going to spend it in the right direction? For the future? Yeah. Ken and I have spoken about the WISA. Anybody heard of the WISA?
Well, that was a BC, that's a BC acronym.
Okay. Do we have one in...
Wills Estate is a Succession Act. There is an Alberta one, I can't remember what it's called.
I would like to have that knowledge. What is the Alberta one called? Anybody?
It's found on the Alberta Gov website. It's estates.
Succession Act?
No, it's not succession. There's wills and estates. Yeah.
Trustee Guardianship Act?
Anybody have a? Yeah. They mentioned that right in the top. Because I have such a poor memory with these things. Anybody got an iPhone can surf it up really fast. A web browser.
In BC, as Ken was saying, we are looking forward to having the WISA in place. The WISA came together by folding 7 legislative acts into one. And one of the acts is the SG Act in the WISA. If you step into court and you become argumentative, contentious, then you will create the judge's opportunity to SG your property. Take it without your permission. Make that investment, NISA 1 to NISA 2. Because you didn't offer up the plan.
So how would you offer up the plan?
Valuable question. You could, in the new NISA or WISA, understand that the US and Canada have made an agreement. And the power to restore land to legal or moral claimants. I like your smile. Give me some bubbly with that. Give me some chuckles. When are we getting you to play Santa anyways?
I look like Santa.
Well, you've got to give it away, baby.
Little fuller beard.
I saved that for November, December.
Good, good. Stretch. Power to restore land to legal or moral claimants. We don't often hear that word, moral. Moral obligation.
Yeah, define moral.
Do you, is that a negligent or an...
Yeah, where does that?
There's a reason that's in there.
Where is
Since
moral?
1954, in Canada, when anybody signed a mortgage,
Yes?
the part of the mortgage document stated that the real property, the land itself, and all interest and rights thereto went to the bank.
Of course, because you didn't do it under reserve, did you?
That's right, and all you're now buying and selling is the title in the public.
Yes.
The real property, which exists as a tangible, immovable, and now becomes permanently the property of the bank that gave you the mortgage. But a moral claimant can come forward and change that.
Yes. By what?
Pardon?
Implementing an obligation.
The claims.
Pertaining or relating to the conscience or moral sense to the general principles of the right conduct.
I love the way they do that.
If I push my idea on
Definition of
anybody in
moral.
here,
You use moral to define itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
let's see how that comes back to
Symbols.
Right there.
it's civil.
Yep.
So if we don't stay civil, then we've obviously have a criminal mind.
Mens rea.
Thank you. Anybody not know the word of the meaning? Procreal. P-R-O-C-H-I-A-L. Procreal. I just got dentures, so I'm practicing. Procreal. Procreal. P-R-O-C-H-I-A-L. I once again emphasize, correct my spelling if I am wrong. I appreciate correction. Okay? It's when one is imposing their ideas on another.
Is that parochial or procreal?
Procreal. P-R-O-C-H-I-A-L.
C-H-A-L.
Excuse me? A-L. Yep.
It's almost like parochial, but it's not quite.
Anybody heard of the term moral turpitude?
As I say, moral
Yeah.
turpitude, yes, that's what I was getting at. They're a cesspool of shit
How
that
do you
you
spell
look
that? Or P-R-O-C-H.
C-H-I-A-L.
I-A-L.
You're going to do the research R&D on that?
Yeah.
Good man.
Alberta wills and estates legislation. That seems to where it be under. I can't seem to grab the website, but I'm at the law library. And
You will be losing that title anyways, Ken.
Yeah,
It's just that we know that it exists. And what we have here is National Mobility Agreement signed by provinces.
National Mobility Agreement?
Yes.
That's for movement of estates?
Yes. I'm gonna bore your eyeballs, and please tell me what that word says.
Defalcation coverage.
How does it come into play? Is it the word common law? Common
To be
agreements,
eligible to
moral
do so,
obligations.
they must be entitled to practice law without restriction in a signatory common law jurisdiction, have liability insurance and defalcation coverage. Defalcation, I think, is basically negligence and wrongdoing, if I recall.
Errors on the account, negligence, wrongdoing, but they gotta be, as the
Not
term
be
goes,
subject to criminal or disciplinary proceedings and have no discipline record.
So 3 strikes against you on an insurance company. Will they sell you insurance cheaply?
here we go. Wills and Succession Act is it's now called February 2011 is the
It is active.
yeah.
Wills and Successions Act. Good, nice, beautiful.
Wills and Successions Act?
Yeah, that's the Alberta one.
So can you go on that page and do a search?
Possibly.
Okay.
Government. This is a.
My blocks doesn't have that procure in it.
Beside that, right, moral turpitude.
You know, he wants to bring up
Practitioners
page.
may be interested in reviewing the Wills and Succession Act at the Queen's Printer online.
he won't be able to pull up off that.
WISA
Have your-
is the wills in succession.
If you have
Purposes and principles.
internet, Wi-Fi.
Ooh, listen to this. Following fundamental principles were used to guide succession law reform. A person is free to transfer his or her property to others upon death, or any interference with the person's wishes is this regard must be justified. If a person does not formally indicate how they want his or her property distributed upon death, it is presumed that the person wants it to go to family members. The person's freedom is transfer property. A person's freedom to transfer property on death is subject to satisfying person's legal and family support obligations.
Yes. Are we not family?
Interesting.
If we're civil, yes. If we're not, that's not good.
That's
See
because
if I can find it.
all legal persons are actually franchisees in an unincorporated banking association, which makes them all family.
Yes, you're discussing IAS CBA issues right now.
IAS.
International Accounting System 37 pulls the Canadian lawyers the option, since you've abandoned, to pull off a T 2057 because you're not doing a T 5008.
So that's how they are accessing the abandoned claim.
Selling it out on the market, waiting for the commission return.
And the court gets that money.
Yes, because you are obviously an intestate successor, aren't you? You just ain't bitching loud enough, dead guy.
Yeah, here. March 20th, 2011, Alberta New Wills and Succession Act. The New Wills and Succession Act covers 126 sections and consolidates and modernizes 5 acts. The Wills Act, the Intestate Succession Act, Survivorship Act, the Dependents Relief Act, and the Trustee Act.
Is that survivorship?
And the trustee act.
Yeah, Survivorship and Presumption of Death Act. Anybody ever heard of it? Survivorship and Presumption of Death Act.
Whoa. Never heard of that one. Presumption of Death Act? Holy
Is that
cow.
BC?
Survivorship.
BC, thank you for that.
Oh, it's for, yeah, that's BC.
You do have legislation that he's just mentioned. There's 5 legislative
Bodies that
enactments
folded in one.
into one. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
WISA did it in BC. That's our title over there, to claim the errors on those accounts, these escheated errors.
Yeah.
In Calgary, we'll give you a different title, but you still have access because of defalcation errors.
Because of which? Defalcation?
Defalcation is a term that they use in their assurance world. And then the assurance has to be converted to the insurance.
Which really means that any one province in Canada, well, except Quebec, which is a civil law jurisdiction, any one province could have the legislation and it becomes binding everywhere.
Bingo.
Well, it says,
Mobility.
here the basic premise
Global
of,
encompassment.
the premise of the Alberta succession law that has been in practice for decades and in practice in common law countries for centuries shall continue to be enforced. The principle of testamentary freedom or freedom of disposition. The basic premise is that the individuals are free to dispose of their estates in any matter that they decide is best, with few exceptions. These exceptions include one's legal and contractual obligations and the exception that one's family must be looked after. If one dies intestate, the legislation assumes that the deceased wants their family to benefit first and foremost from their estates. The new act is designed with in mind to accommodate and allow for easier settlements of disputes and overall efficacy of settling disputes. First, it sets up the commingled succession law of other legal areas such as trust, pensions, adult guardianship, contracts, and general property concepts. Also, the act is more directive in telling the court how it must interpret a will.
You notice how they said family, they're talking about them, they're not talking about your kids.
Wait a minute, if you're not part of their family, you're creating the issue, are you not?
Well, right, but what I'm saying there is what they're looking at when they're escheating that estate, when they're looking at an estate where you died intestate, and then they're saying, well, to look after one's family. They leave out your kids, and they don't. With family. And that comes to the birth certificate having Canada and Alberta. They're a generation removed.
They don't. You're creating a contention. You're creating a contention. If they make a decision that you go against, that you dislike, that you find inappropriate, you have 7 days to set it aside and reset the order. TVC, True Verified and Complete, wills estate succession. In the WISA, in section 59, because this is what I want you to look up in Calgary. Just punch in.
This one last paragraph. Supreme.
Yeah.
It says transfers of property while living. Supreme Court of Canada made recent decisions on the presumption of gratuitous transfers of assets from parent to child. The decisions are based on modern values and practices. The new act also addresses concerns that may arise, for example, from a family business deal and a disposition of a will. So, what's the definition of a parent?
Good point. Good point. Who's your spouse, really?
Your child.
Actually, your straw man. She's my bitch.
Oh, right.
She's my bitch.
Yeah, the way it's right. Your strong man's your bitch.
So if I don't stay in marriage position with that corporate head of my family, I will lose the position of any investment on the outcome of that family unit. I will be held liable to support it at a distance. I didn't claim the interest running on the account, that's my issue. In the Land Spousal Protection Act, and if you punched it in that way, Land, open bracket, Spousal Protection, close, Act, you'll find something very interesting. How the land is you.
Yeah.
But our rights as the land to speak for it have been taken away. But now they're coming back. SG Act. It's one of the legislative enactments that we have folded in BC. You have 5, we have 7, but it's all the same. Intestate succession, guardianship. Without a guardian, the estate is intestate. A testamentary document would create that guardianship entitlement.
Right.
Or the question of moral obligation would what?
Well, it would entitle you to a claim on it.
See the point? SG Act, Section 5.
Entitle you to fill the office of the executive of the estate.
Yeah. Because intestate succession, they're dealing with your RRSPs, RRIFs. We're going to go to the SG Act, which says in the Act is current to December 1st, 2010. And in here in Section 5, it says... Drum roll, Tim. Drum roll, Tim. Power to restore land to legal or moral claimants.
And you are the land.
I.
Real estate.
Yeah, real estate.
Public or private?
Well, the estate is both.
Julie.
Yeah, unless
That's
claimed
the-
what side of the ledger, I'm, here's a caveat. Familia emptor. That means it's for the family, it's not for the military. Because dead guys are in the military.
Yeah,
They're just an investment.
The legal person only holds the title.
Yeah.
The man holds possessory title to the actual, whether it's movables or immovables.
Holder in due course.
You're in peaceful
Well,
possession
that's
of
our
your
answer.
He'll
That's
become the
it.
entitled heir at law.
Well, the testator, yeah, okay, is his own heir while he's alive.
Because if not, he's disinherited the position.
Well, right from now you're operating,
Oh,
you're
Jesus.
living with while the testator.
See.
We're gonna have smoke soon, I'll just finish up. The Attorney General may, as the Attorney General seems proper, A, restore land which is escheated or become forfeited, or any portion of the interest in it to a person, or B, transfer it to a person, 1, who has a legal or moral claim on the person to whom it had belonged, 2, to carry into effect any deposition of it which the owner may have contemplated, or, drumroll, 3, to reward a person who discovers the escheat or forfeiture. Where's my check, mother?
Reward.
Oh, simply by coming forward
oh,
and saying
man.
I'm not abandoning.
I was always offering for the check. I'm just here to get the check. I'm here to get the check. Where's the check?
What are you gonna do with
It's
it?
freaking.
What are you gonna do with it?
Well, they never got there. They just start freaking on me. They just start spazzing out there, going ballistic. But I
Didn't even trust you.
I would like it as cheated
Oh.
into receivership. And I nominate and appoint the prosecutor. I don't care. I don't want anyone to do it. I could take it for myself. I will be held liable for the remainder. I must make an investment. I'm better off saying, you don't get your pay. Put it back where it came from.
Here we go, I found a PDF.
yeah, put it. It's due the estate. Return it to the estate.
Yeah, I'm not authorising that investment.
And that's what when I had Andy and
No,
Jack
value assured,
DC there.
value offered.
And
To
then
verify
she said,
complete.
finally got the judge to admit that they were the beneficiaries, and the judge said, yes, we recognize you're just the beneficiary. Then I told her to start screaming, then where's the trustee? And the judge said, just remove them from the court, this matter is adjourned for, we're taking a recess. They got them out of there right now. And they were removed, they were released the next day.
So it was for failure to comply with.
That's how they term it in section 59 of the lease act.
What would be the
The question I'd like you to formulate in that search.
Value certified TLC.
I don't know if it's a PDF file, so I don't know how to
Yes,
search.
Anybody more qualified?
Not me. Shit. Not the computer geek.
Okay, so I'll give you the interpretation, survivorship, interpretations and application, legal effect of will.
Legal effect of will,
Yeah.
and so
Disposition,
testator's wishes. Testator's
Yeah.
wishes.
Yeah.
property disposed of before death. Is that testator's wishes?
That's an S-cheat issue.
General disposition, powers of appointment. Who can make requires formal holograph will.
Holographic wills. Something you might want to check into is
Alteration.
notional estates.
Notional?
Notional.
Is that like a constructive issue or?
Yeah, yes it is. Constructive trust leads to constructive fraud, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is New South Wales Consolidated Acts.
What?
New South Wales, Australia.
They are what? A common law.
Can't just explain to these guys, well, that legislation in the States is applicable to the Canadian judges, just as it is to the States as the Australian
You
legislation.
just have to know how to time
We're
it.
becoming that one big family we always wanted. I want to be able to trust all of you, and you want to be able to trust me. We want security clearance. I want to know that the first thing you say is what you mean, and it doesn't really involve your attitude or your emotions. It involves the results of the outcome. We could discuss the reasoning of how we got here. That we die. I want the results of the outcome, as we all do for a good family, to operate together. S-cheat, reward check. It's coming together. You just got to piece it. How far down the treadmill of this poo-poo are you? We'll do a quick list. We got Risa. We understand the testator is lacking a testamentary document if he doesn't A for V something or put something in there. You're not creating the security interest transaction that creates the obligation for his moral implication.
So really, the judge is transacting the security interest because you didn't.
Thank you.
That's the only reason he's
That's
doing it.
all. Walk in and go like this. You could. I recognize you. Then he has no authority to recognize to continue. But as soon as you step out, what are you going to lose?
Recognition. He's standing.
And that's why they don't want him in the bar.
1 year ago, I got kicked out of the courthouse, literally right out of the courthouse.
Did you get arrested first?
No, they wouldn't touch me. I cleared that. But anyways, that was for not going in the bar.
Yeah.
And Al's been in court with me lately, and they freak when they go inside the bar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They won't let even the attorneys last week. Their client would come in with them, one guy, and he just spun him around and put him right back out on the other side of that bar.
Nobody goes in there.
They won't.
Why?
We've been running the executor letters.
Because they don't want
going in there.
recognition.
You have been running executive letters in there.
Yeah, and I've got
So there's not an intestate successor, is there?
All they've been doing is notice.
We're just
It's
not
just
quite
a
sure
very
what's
simple
going on
letter
there.
that they've been using, not an entire process where they notice the AG and the Governor General of their obligations and liabilities, and then come to the court and said, okay, pursuant to that, now you're gonna do this. They sent in a letter and just basically started instructing the trustees what to do.
Yeah, well, that's what it would take as
Yeah.
well.
It's a trust agreement.
The
It's no
attorney-
longer implied, it's what?
It's expressed.
It's expressed.
And explicit.
Yes, it's exactly, it's
And,
notice and it's those, it's
TBC'd.
true, verified and complete, isn't
The
Guy walks into court and he goes, I understand, Judge, you're the executor. A lot of trustees and I'm the beneficiary. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
There's more than one way around this when you get the picture. Same diamond, different facet sides you're looking through. That's all.
See, these lawyers are running out of the courtroom and they're not showing up, and it's talking about those bonds again. And it says, regardless of whether a person is dead or alive, as the statement of the administrator is that of an absentee. Talking
It
about
becomes a
statute.
legitee trustee.
Under special statutes, they have to take a bond.
Fiduciary bond
To
or probate
protect,
bond.
protect the interest of the decedent. It says such statutes must be strictly complied with, especially with reference to taking a bond from the distributees conditioned on refunding the amount received to the supposed decedent if he is in fact alive at the time of the distribution. And the administrator is personally liable, where instead of taking the bond required by statute, he takes the bond indemnifying himself.
They just-
Or